Okay, all right. Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the special meeting to order. Today is July 20th. It is 6:30 p.m. Calling the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance, trustee Dulcie, would you like to
What? Oh.
lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America. Thank you. Okay, there's a couple of things on the agenda for today. We need, as a procedural matter, first to adopt and add to the agenda the meeting minutes from the last meeting, which was in June. Is Peter Batty on? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, trustee Batty's on Zoom as well. Okay. Is there a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
So moved.
There's a second? Okay, so motion carries. We're going to adopt the meeting minutes from the last meeting and add it to this agenda. There's two items. First one is the President Guevara's contracts, which has been discussed in previous meetings. And then we'll address some concerns with the Big Pine Key property. As far as the president's contract, their last meeting, by way of recap, at the last meeting, there was a motion on the floor. The motion, we want to make sure it's clear in the record. I don't think the transcription was might have been accurate. So trustee Batty, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Could you please confirm what that motion was at the last meeting?
The motion at the last meeting, for whatever reason, didn't seem to be communicated properly. So what I'd actually rather do, with your permission, Madam Chair, would be to make a new motion.
That's perfectly fine with me.
All right.
Anybody opposed to that?
Well,
Okay. Go ahead, trustee Batty.
thank you. I move that, pursuant to Board Rule 1.520, the District Board of Trustees hereby terminates the employment of Dr. Jonathan Guevara as president of the College of the Florida Keys, effective immediately. Effective upon the termination becoming effective, Dr. Guevara's authority to act on behalf of the college as president shall cease, except as may be specifically authorized in writing by the board chair for the purpose of the orderly transition. I further move that the board chair is authorized to engage a law firm of her choosing, subject to the firm's acceptance of the representation, completion of its own conflict review, and engagement not to exceed $15,000, without further board approval, to 1, prepare all and deliver all notices required by the employment agreement, Board Rule 1.520, and applicable law. 2, advise the board regarding the implementation of this termination and all related legal requirements. 3, coordinate the transition of an executive authority and institutional operations. 4, calculate and administer any compensation, accrued benefits, or obligation owed under the employment agreement. 5, prepare any separation agreement or release authorized by the board. 6, represent the board in any administrative, judicial, or other proceedings arising from or related to this action. And 7, take all other actions reasonably necessary to implement the board's decision in compliance with applicable law. The board further authorizes the board chair to execute all documents necessary to carry out this motion consistent with the board's action.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion. I think this might warrant some discussion.
Yeah, I think it might be helpful to just talk about what Rule 1.520 provides. One of the things that Rule 1.520 provides is it contemplates a notice of termination, and what that triggers is a let me just read it. It says, in the case of the termination, the president within 15 days of the notice of the dismissal, he can request a hearing pursuant to the provision of chapter 120 of the Florida statute. So this rule 1.520 contemplates a written notice, and then there's a 15-day period where the president could request a hearing pursuant to this chapter 120. So I think what Peter's motion contemplates is that an attorney get retained, the attorney prepare the notice as contemplated in this rule, and then that would trigger, would allow the president, if he chose to request a hearing as provided in this rule. And so I think that makes sense. I guess what I want to make clear, though, is that under this motion, what we're saying is that this is a clear determination, and that the employment has to be severed, and that we need to have Dr. Guevara not have any more access to the school and to IT stuff and all that, those things. So Peter, in your motion, am I taking it that this would accomplish that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Also note that the Dr. G was given the opportunity to either retire or resign, and apparently did not take advantage of that.
Do we want to put on the record, just for clarity? It's an at-will contract, but because he does have a contract that was prematurely renewed last year, which has been discussed in previous meetings, does anyone want to lay the record as far as the reasons
For,
seeking termination under Rule 1.520?
yeah, I mean, well, I'll just read. So rule this rule that we're discussing, it lays out the board's authority for termination. And would it be helpful if I read the pertinent part?
I think it might be good to put it in the record.
Okay, the president or acting president may be suspended or dismissed by the board for cause consisting of immorality, incompetence, misconduct in office, insubordination, loss of institutional control, lack of confidence of the board, breach of employment contract, failure to adhere to governing rules, policies, and or statutes, willful neglect of duty, public drunkenness, or conviction of a crime involving moral turpitude. In such a case, a hearing, as I just read, pursuant to the provision of chapter 120 of the Florida statute, shall be provided if requested by the president, writing within 15 days of notice of the suspension or dismissal. And so I think that clearly Dr. G has lost the confidence of the board, and clearly one of the factors that's led to the board adopting this resolution to terminate him has been insubordination, among other reasons. And it's something that I think we have not taken lightly. And so I think it's important that the record reflect that.
Is there anything else anyone else would like to add?
No, but I'm not an attorney, so I'd like
It's
to
okay.
get
You're
clarified.
trustee.
Because what I heard was what I first heard was we're giving Dr. G 15 days notice to discuss, appeal, whatever, projected termination. Then what I heard was, no, it's a termination. So somebody clarify that.
Well, we're terminating Dr. G pursuant to the authority given to us under Rule 1.520.
Okay.
So we have to follow the authority given to us under this board rule. And what the board rule provides, number one, is the the various reasons that we can terminate.
Okay.
So one of those reasons is lack of confidence, which we clearly have lost confidence.
Okay.
One of the specific things also is just insubordination. And so one of the things that's triggered when we terminate is we need to give him a written notice of the dismissal. Once we do that, then under this rule, he can request within 15 days of this notice, a hearing pursuant to the provisions of chapter 120 of the Florida statutes. That doesn't change the fact that we're terminating him. This rule just provides that he can request a hearing.
Got
Does
it.
that make sense?
That does make sense.
Did we provide the written notice?
No, and so we have to do that. And so
Correct.
I think Peter, correct me if I'm wrong. Your resolution calls and authorizes Alexandria to retain an attorney post haste to prepare that notice, deliver it to Dr. G, so that that period can start ticking so that he can then request the hearing if he so chooses.
Yes, sir.
Right? So we need to do that, but we also need, I think, to provide clarity for everybody. We need to cut Dr. G's access off immediately to the school, to the office, to the IT systems.
Mhm.
And I believe we need to direct whoever at the school, I believe it's you, right, Brittany?
Right.
So that we can stop him from coming into the office. And that's
Correct. So the
Well,
way the way the motion is that he is, if it were to be passed, he would be terminated immediately. However, Madam Chair, you have the authority to retain an attorney immediately to provide the written notice and follow the orders of 1.520 with the attorney to make sure that it's completed in the proper fashion.
Correct. So just to be clear, it would be effective upon written notice, which is required.
No, it'd be effective immediately, and then the written
Okay.
notice would follow afterwards.
Okay,
yeah, or let
That-
me,
to make sure that we have the right motion.
let me restate it so that we're crystal clear. If we adopt this resolution, and Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, he's terminated upon adoption of this resolution. For purposes of the rule, however, the 15-day period does not begin until he receives the written notice. The
Correct.
date that he receives the written notice, then he has 15 days to request the hearing.
Correct.
okay.
Does that
Yeah,
comport
Is it
with
everybody-
everyone's understanding of the rule?
all the trustees are clear? Okay. All right, and I think it would also be important to lay the record. I know you mentioned from Rule 1.520, a few of the reasons, which is lack of confidence, the insubordination,
And the lack of confidence goes to various things that are reflected in the evaluations that were
correct.
submitted
The evaluations that were submitted,
by the
correct,
board.
correct, okay. All right,
As well as the loss of funding, which we discussed last time.
well, yeah,
Yeah, so there's a myriad of
Is it
things
not
that
correct?
go to the lack of
Right.
confidence.
it's important, yeah, I just
We went through pretty significantly.
may want to
Yes.
lay them in the record, even though it might be redundant to another meeting, such as not being able to secure appropriations for the college. In more than one, it's been approximately 2 years, where he has not been able to seek appropriations for the college. There's been question as far as having students enroll in courses, a paramedics course, which was overseen by Dr. Guevara. And I'm the only trustee sitting here that was at that meeting when parents attended and were very, very upset to learn that their children had enrolled for these classes, paid for these classes, taken the classes, and now were not able to sit for certification or licensing or whatever they needed to do in order to fulfill what they were trying to accomplish in taking that course. And it was later discovered that this was potentially known to Dr. Guevara, and allowed another personnel to kind of, for lack of a better phrase, take the fall for it. And that, I think, contributed to the lack of confidence with the board. There's been other instances in previous meetings, such as this board asking Dr. Guevara regarding the very premature renewal of his contract, which was set to expire this year in the summer and was renewed last year shortly after, or at some point in time when those appropriations were not initially secured for the college. And when this board asked the president to clarify and provide the factual circumstances around why a contract was renewed over 1 year in advance and provided at a raise, there was no response. The president refused effectively to address the concerns of this board. So I would say that that would contribute to a lack of confidence in the president. There are statements that were made that are not correct when the president stated to this board that he did not seek a raise, did not even, I think the words were, did not even get a raise with the contract prematurely being renewed. I have since learned that that is not true because I looked at the contracts, and the contracts do provide for a total of approximately $45,000 more that the college is paying. So it's about $15,000 more a year. So in effect, the college was paying $15,000 more 1 year earlier than it even needed to. And flip side of that coin is, if we did want to keep President Guevara on board, we would have just, right now we'd have him for 1 year less. And that usurped this board from being able to properly evaluate him and determine if the college wants to keep him as president and if a pay increase was warranted. And so there's just been a number of things besides it's been out there in social media. So if the board is okay with this, I think it's important to address it, because one of the ways that media tends to spin this is, oh, he was disrespectful to the chair. And so, it's not about the disrespect in and of itself. I think it's about the fact that that is an insubordination. And when you feel that you are, I think there's a misunderstanding here of, he thinks that he's in charge of the board. And it's the other way around. I have no other way of saying it. And I have laid it on the record. When there was no chair on this board, I received the phone call telling me who to vote for us to nominate for the chair, the next chair. I don't know if he called that other trustee, which was Levin at the time, and told him, hey, I've asked Trustee Suarez to vote for you and to nominate you as chair. But technically that's not a violation of sunshine law, but it was a little too close to the sandbox edge for me. And therefore I did not participate in that, but that also eroded a bit my confidence in allowing the board to make decisions versus controlling those decisions.
Yeah, the other, I think, thing that we discussed at the last meeting was the lack of appropriations given to the school. I think we did not receive something close to 8 million. Is it $8 million?
5.6.
5.6?
Yeah, it's 2.2 and then 5 point something, or 3 point something.
And I was personally told that the reason that we didn't receive that money is that every school got cut back. So I had the opportunity this weekend to have breakfast with the senior chancellor for the Florida Department of Education, who happened to be in town. He's the second in command at the Florida Department of Education. The other senior chancellor actually has become the head of the Florida Department of Education, because Stasi, who was the head, has become the president of Polk College. And I asked him that question, and he said that was not true. He said that Dr. G was not the best representative of the college because, and these are his words, he believed Dr. G believed that this was his fiefdom. He didn't regularly attend, for example, meetings of that they had with all the presidents of the 28 colleges. He was not a regular participant. He was not a regular participant of other meetings, and it made it difficult for the Board of Education to advocate for our what we needed, and it's very unfortunate. And I think one of the things that I would like to stress is when we bring a new president on board, we have to stress that one of their main responsibilities is to develop a strong relationship with the Board of Education. So that when we do need appropriations, they can advocate for us, because that's something that's been missing. And I think that's a huge deficiency and it's very unfortunate that we have, that this college has such a poor reputation with the organization that oversees this college. And I heard it straight from the horse's mouth. So it's very unfortunate, and I think it kind of reinforces what we suspected.
Mhm. Okay, and I think the one, not that there's any order of importance in these reasons for cause, but one of the things that and I'm sure other trustees received many phone calls, emails, the community in Big Pine Key and beyond reaching out. They were very offended by the president blaming or somehow blaming Big Pine Key residents for problems with key deer. I don't live down there, but I know how everyone down there takes that to heart. And it takes a village. And I think that's why the key deer are thriving, and the college is a community college. It should be part of the community. We should partner with the community whenever possible, and the college should not be in an adversarial position. And for some reason, under his leadership, that's where we stand right now, which is why there's so many attendees that have been coming to the meetings and feel very strongly about that issue, which is another topic. But I just want to make sure that the record is clear as to all of the reasons. I'm sure there's more. I'm not going to sit here and lay the other ones, but I just want to establish the basis for that. Any other discussion?
I guess the other thing is, before we adopt this motion, the other shoes to drop obviously are, so Dr. G will not be on campus. So we need to think about who will be the interim leader of the school. Number one. Number two, I think we need to think about dealing with the aftermath of his departure, and whether that is something that will be undertaken by the interim leader, or whether that's something that is assigned to a member of the Board of Trustees, is something that I think we need to think about, because I think we need to avoid a vacuum, and we need to avoid chaos. And so I am supportive of this resolution, but I think the thing that's missing is, what do we do when Dr. G is not there? And how do we deal with the vacuum that's going to create?
Okay, so that's probably something that we should address now instead of having to wait another 8 days for the next meeting
Yes.
to
That's,
discuss.
that was really one of my concerns, and, and is there an existing succession plan in case something happened to Dr. G? Does anybody want to know if there was one?
My understanding is, and Dr. Snyder could clarify that, is it's President Guevara is at the top of the organizational chart of the college, and then there are 4 vice presidents, which are Dr. Snyder, Dr. Hayward,
Gaspari.
Gaspari,
Dr. Biltmore.
Yes, okay. So there's 4 VPs.
Correct.
Which any could serve as an interim or, at least until we, come to a meeting and decide whether we recruit for an intern. The rule 1.520 does say that the board may, but doesn't mean that that the board has to, form a committee, a search committee. So the board has the authority, my understanding, to appoint an interim if that's something that the board would like to do.
If I may, Madam Chair,
Yes.
and if we are to be appointing someone, that would be a second motion that would follow this one.
Yeah, okay. We have a motion. Did we have a second? Yes, okay. There's been discussion, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries for agenda item number 1. Is there a motion regarding succession?
I'll move that we name Dr. Snyder acting, since has longevity. And knows the college, if she would accept. If not, we'll move on down the line.
I think that's fine.
But
But-
Madam Chair,
but-
point, we need a motion. If it's a motion, we have to have a second before we
But hold
discuss.
on. I think one of the elements of the motion would be to appoint a acting head. I guess the question I had, and it's really a question.
Trustee, then the correct format would be to second the motion and then amend the
Right.
motion.
Yeah, there was,
Okay,
there was a
that's
motion,
fine.
but no
I'll
second.
second that motion.
Okay, discussion?
The discussion is, and this is, and discussion / question, and that is in the aftermath of Dr. G's departure and appointing Brittany Snyder as the interim person, do we need to have a discussion at a minimum with the senior staff to understand, to get a better understanding of the fallout at the school or the ramifications of his departure? And what I'm worried about is, we're really operating blind as to, what other things we may not be aware of. And so, should we be interviewing all the senior people? Should we, you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think this can be a, it's temporary. It'll give the college the ability to continue, running, functioning without skipping a beat. While the board can then determine if it wants to, either appoint another interim president or to take a look at all
So
options.
for example, I know you're very busy, Eddie, but you probably understand the college better than anybody on the board. So for example, would you be willing to conduct interviews with the senior staff of the school to get a better understanding of what the morale is, what the issues are in the aftermath of Dr. G's departure, and report back to the board? Would you be willing?
Next
to do that?
week,
Yes.
I would. I thought for a minute you were gonna ask me to be acting president. And so- Whoa. I guess I have between midnight and 4 free on my calendar every day. No. I would, and I mean, I didn't mean to surprise Dr. Snyder, because I haven't talked to her about this, haven't talked to anybody about this, right? I share the question about succession. I was looking through all the rules and stuff. I really, as the Army guy on the board, I would have thought there would be a succession plan. And so
Yeah,
I
I'm
just,
actually surprised.
I literally just thought of Dr. Snyder because of her position and her time here. So,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Um,
So it's, she didn't tell me to do it, and she may not be very happy with me for doing it, but.
And the reason,
Um,
the reason I'm thinking about this
Right.
is, so I previously was on the board of a school.
Right,
We had a similar situation, And we did this, and when we did the interviews, we were really surprised by
Mhm.
some of the things that we found.
Sure, okay. So I would say, I don't know if I need to amend my motion, but this is still the discussion.
Right,
We obviously need someone to keep the lights on.
yes,
Correct.
Someone needs to make decisions on behalf of the college,
right,
and that's what we are looking for.
Correct.
Is the senior executive to do those routine actions that keep the college operating.
correct.
Okay,
But we also need some.
and that's why I nominated Dr. Snyder.
And I think I support that, but I
Okay.
think we also need someone to go in and really try to understand what's going on.
Well, perhaps as a recent alum and former employee of the college, maybe I'm too close.
That's what exactly, you
Okay,
just
well,
took the
that's why
words
I'm-
right
that's why
out
I'm
of my
throwing it
mouth.
out
So
there.
maybe with your experience, you ought to be the.
And trustee Batty, sitting as the chair, do you know of any reason that would foreclose me from also conducting interviews with personnel?
No, it does not. It would
Okay.
actually fall on your responsibility if it was not specifically assigned to someone else.
I volunteers tribute. I would like to also interview personnel.
Well, then, maybe, I mean, I'm perfectly happy to have you do it.
Okay. All right,
Do you want any additional support to sit in with you? I'd be
happy to.
I'm sorry,
I'm interested.
I would prefer if someone other than the chair did it.
okay, and what's the reasoning?
Just spread the
Okay.
opinions, I
Okay.
think. Really nothing personal, other than spread it out.
Okay,
Yeah,
Trustee, Kelsey has a.
sure.
Do we have an emergency signer for checks and other things? like
That's what
that?
we're trying to,
That's-
yeah.
And-
Trying to put the yoke on
Well, I
Dr.
didn't know if
Snyder.
you're talking about there's no succession plan, but is something in place already? Cause I mean,
Yeah.
people go on vacation and so on and so forth. Is there already a person in place that's allowed to?
Have somebody
Dr.
get-
Snyder?
So I'm an authority on the checking account.
Okay.
However, you need a second person, so a second individual would have to be designated amongst the staff.
Okay,
As the second signer.
and do
So-
we have a process for that?
We do.
Okay.
what I can share with the rest of the board is that Dr. Gasperi has been here, as long as I've been trustee, Dr. Gasperi's also been an integral part of that team. So maybe she would be a good person as the second, because I know Dr. Hayward, just the time that, the others have been in their roles, those two have more time with the college. I don't know if the board would want to.
It'd be up to Mr. Eddie, if Mr. Curtis, if he would like to amend his motion to include that.
So amended.
Is there a second?
Sorry, would you restate?
Well, whoever made the second has to agree to the amendment.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's restate the amended motion so it's very clear.
It's not even clear to me, but I made a motion that we appoint Dr. Snyder
Okay, and we had a discussion.
acting president,
And-
and we can give it a term if we want to. 90 days,
well,
30 days,
No, I think let me make a friendly amendment.
okay.
The motion is to appoint Dr. Brittany Snyder as the interim acting whatever president. I don't think there's we shouldn't have a specific term. It's subject to I think the board identifying a permanent replacement. That's it. That would be my motion. So there is no time frame.
I agree with that.
and-
I think it'd be too hard to put a time.
now as far as permanent or. I don't want the board to foreclose themselves from being able to. Find an interim if they do want an interim and then allow for reevaluation to decide whether it would be, final permanent.
Okay, so subject to finding an alternative head. How's that?
That works. I don't know. Does that work for you?
So the motion is,
Are we triggering anything where the governor is supposed to appoint?
this is our responsibility.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah,
following
it's
up.
your point.
I wish the governor would be doing this, but unfortunately it's our job. So the motion then is to appoint Dr. Brittany Snyder as the interim president. Subject to our deciding on an alternative at some point in the future.
Including but not limited to an interim and a permanent.
Sounds
Yes.
good.
And do we include the Dr. Gaspari in that, this motion or no?
For what?
For what?
I mean, it was, you're gonna
And
have,
they, well, Dr. Snyder mentioned that there needs to be two people to be
Yeah.
able to sign the
But
check.
That's
not-
within their own policies and
Okay, yeah.
procedures.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
as I understand it, they have an internal procedure for
Yeah.
adding a check signer, and it's only a check signer.
Okay.
We don't need to
All
make
right,
that the subject of this resolution, correct?
we got it.
Correct.
fine, fine.
Okay, so
Right.
that's one element of the resolution. So then we had a discussion, so we've amended that. And then the other thing we discussed was authorizing one or more members of the board to go in and conduct interviews with the senior staff to kind of take a temperature check of the school.
Can I make a recommendation on that?
Yes, sir.
I really think that we should not be making a decision on that until we speak with our attorney. And once we have an attorney and the termination procedures are concluded, because I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Okay,
And we have another meeting in 8 days and we can discuss it a little further then, but I feel like for right now, we just did enough and we need to let that settle and get in place before we actually start getting into the meat of it, if you will.
okay. I think that makes
So
That
if
makes a
no-
lot of sense.
Nobody seconds it, it just dies.
sense. Okay,
Well, yeah, no one seconds the amendment, then it dies. Then we have the First Amendment and that's it.
No
so
one seconds
hopefully next meeting we'll be in a position to have an additional discussion.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
it. Chair says, do I have a second in silence?
Okay, so you want to go over that again, just to be clear for the record,
okay, so we
what's on the
had,
floor?
yeah, so we had a motion to appoint Brittany Snyder as interim president, subject to the board identifying an alternative president and whatever Peter said. And then we had an additional discussion about conducting interviews. Peter suggested that we not do that for the moment, and I think that makes perfect sense.
So right now, it's just motion to appoint Dr. Snyder as an interim for now. Is there, who motioned? Is there a
And
second?
for the period of the term that the board sees fit until a permanent interim or permanent president is found.
Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we've had our discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Point of order, Madam Chair. I believe it was trustee Curtis and trustee Downer who made the second, so it needs to be trustee Downer who makes the first. Oh, sorry, trustee Curtis who makes the first and Downer who makes the second.
Correct.
But trustee Broughton made the second on that one.
Oh,
Okay, so I would.
you're out, Bob.
I would.
Sorry, I want to make sure we do it by the book. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, any other motions regarding agenda item number 1? Okay, item number 2 is the Big Pine Key property. Oh, the Big Pine Key property, my understanding is on the 15th was the date that the college made a promise or, said that they would have the key deer out of the property.
Let me clarify this, because I was, at the last meeting, I was tasked with, writing a letter to the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to get them to come and take the gear out. I contacted Dr. Brittany Snyder, who had already made contact with them. And she said, actually, they're gonna come to the property. So I contacted Valerie Pettioni, because she's the head of the Save Our Cute Deer, and it turned out that she was available, so we all met on the key deer property. And what Dr. Brittany Snyder said was, well, they're gonna come in 2 weeks to try to get the key deer out. There was no guarantee that the key deer would be able to be removed. They were just gonna come and see what they could do. So, you know, you can't give a guarantee that the key deer are gonna be removed. And so let me stop there, and maybe it would be appropriate to allow
Yeah,
Dr. Schneider to talk about what happened.
Where they're at.
Yeah.
Sure, we met on July 2nd with Ms. Preziosi on the property. And on July 10th, they made an attempt, there was a group of about, I'd say 30 to 35 individuals who went to the property. And under the guidance and leadership of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, we attempted to gently herd the deer towards the back gate. Unfortunately, that effort did not result in any deer exiting the property. Nope. The deer are extremely comfortable with the property. They have safe spaces on the property that, once we made our efforts, they sought those safe spaces they feel comfortable in, which are not near one of the gates to exit. Since then, we've also met again with the agencies involved. They have other strategies that they're going to try to employ over the next couple weeks.
Do we know
to
what they are?
again remove the deer. That is up to U.S. Fish.
Thank you.
okay, so they haven't shared what would be the next, what their intention is to do next.
They've just said that they're gonna make other attempts over the next few weeks. So in terms of how they're going to do that, I leave that to their expertise. But that is what I can share at this time.
Okay, I know the board has been at this for quite a few meetings at this point. I think the concern was one, that the college, the look of the college as they're not doing anything for the deer. I mean, that's the first thing. The second is obviously, everyone, including the board, cares about the key deer. What I've been trying to follow and just to educate myself and know what's going on and reading about this. Speaking with different wildlife experts, I know that, is it Mater's last name? No.
Kevin Neither is the veterinarian.
Okay, no, yeah, the one that was present with us when I visited the site
Kevin Calais,
from US Fish and Wildlife.
correct.
Okay. And I remember asking him, well, don't deer need to travel? Like they move from place to place, they don't stay stationary in one location. He told me that no, they're fine, that there's deer that stays in the same block or same couple of blocks. I spoke with other deer, I guess, experts or people that are very knowledgeable on deer. And I used to be a prosecutor and handled FWC violations, so I reached out to a few people to try to find out, and they said, don't, they need to travel a bit. They have their patterns, their commuting, whatever it is that they do. So I just felt like we really should be trying to do what we can to remove the deer from the property now that the property is, I guess, secured, where gaps have been, right?
Correct, the perimeter fence is secure.
Okay, so the perimeter fence is now secure and these deer are still inside.
So I think here's the bottom line. I think, from Valerie's perspective, she would like, and she's just passed out the thing, she would like to put the equivalent of doggy doors
Right.
on the fences. And so that the deer could go in and out. And, at first blush, that sounds reasonable. The tension is that when you do that, then you create an issue where not only could deer get in and out, but people could get in and out, or other things could get in and out. And so the problem is, if you have, these gates, then you have an unsecure fence. And so I guess the question is, could you have these gates and feel good about liability issues, security issues? And maybe you could address that because, I think from the board standpoint, we would very much like to have harmony with the community.
Correct.
But by the same token, we want to balance the, security considerations, liability try to find some common ground. Because we cannot work it out at this meeting.
Okay. All right. Motion?
That's the motion, is to appoint to appoint the chair as the facilitator to try to find some common ground with Valerie and Dr. Snyder to work out something that's mutually satisfactory.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we had discussion.
That's so long as the chair accepts.
Yes, I accept.
And in the
Uh,
meantime, did you just die?
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous.
I'll call you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
okay,
Okay?
all right.
Okay, I can call you tonight if you want on my way home. Okay, we'll figure
We
something
had a
out.
long day.
And I'll call Dr. Snyder as well. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we have. Before we do the good of the order, I just want to make sure, I know some people have left, but in case there was anything that someone needed to, public wants to comment on, Catherine Donovan. And I'll have to, I'm sorry, but it'll be, I think it's 2 minutes is what you're allowed for.
3.
It's 3? Okay, 3 minutes.
No, no,
You want to give your 3 minutes away?
I was trying to. No, go ahead,
Oh.
go ahead. Sure. Yes, I want you to speak too. If you know a lot more. about
Good time.
stuff.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. I got it.
Catherine Donovan, I drove down today for a boat that because I was upset about the key deer. Pictures that she referenced, I mean, you could see them all over the place, and you're having a mother and a child, a doe. Oh, sorry, thank you. You have a fawn and a doe separated. We can't have the herd separated, and I'm upset now that this is gonna go on, because that's gonna be another week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, when the deer need to come out of there right now. Water point was very well said, when, the hurricane came through, it wrecked all the water. And so they had the two that are, like she said, came from the base, and they're fresh water, that's why the deer wanna go back in now. My thought, but she knows a lot more, with her organization, is what is so valuable about the deer refuge? Just move the fence closer to the jail and give the deer back their refuge. I know you say that it's not on the refuge, but the deer think it's there. The deer keep breaking in and out, and just move that gate back towards the jail. Then you wouldn't have to have the windows or the doors, dog doors you call them. But if that's impossible, then we have to go with something. I mean, you can't take a broomstick and get the deer out there. It's just not gonna work. This is bigger than just making a decision on cement, on fencing and stuff. This is the only place in the world that the key deer are. This is it. And how many more do we have? How many hurricanes are gonna come by? And, lower our herd numbers. And some are in there already getting smaller. I saw 2. They have to eat, they have to get fresh water. And as adults all sitting in this room, we have to figure something out besides put it off till next week or put it off till next month. We put it off since January, and it's just not working.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and I just want to be clear, because I know some people have put on their notes regarding the actual like CDL or what we're gonna do with the property. There's in the plans to have a workshop in Big Pine Key for that purpose, so today is actually just the key deer that are trapped in the property issue. Okay, Sierra Cox.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sierra Cox, how y'all doing?
Good, thank you.
Coming along with this school, my father worked on that property as the corrections officer for many years. And y'all's knowledge on key deers speaks volumes to the people in this audience right now, and your lack of it. The key deer don't travel in the way that normal deer do, and most of the people in this room don't need to give y'all a lecture on the deer and the treasure that y'all hold very sacred in a place that y'all are in a wildlife refuge. As an alumni of this school, I think this is abhorrent. The one thing that we treasure in this community most is our environment. And as ambassadors of this, y'all should
That's not you.
treasure it more, as your position should hold dearly to you. On behalf of the school, you have young people who are not registering at this school anymore because of the actions of this property. And the Monroe County knows
that this is going on, all of us residents. It's not just Big Pine, it's not just Boca, it's all of South Florida. All eyes are on y'all. We're tired of calling Fish and Wildlife. We're tired of calling the wrong people. Do the right thing. The key deer should not be in here yesterday, or the day before, or the day before that. Or tomorrow. Keep our natural resources our resources. They are endangered species for a reason. Every single day, that perimeter gate was open during business hours at the prison. Those deer grazed every single day, and they went to that watering hole every single day. And that was pre-Irma. And again, as the nice lovely lady suggested, or just said just now, we are in a historic drought. Where do you think those deer are gonna go? And as per what the CDO is going to be on that property, I suggest maybe doing it as a coral nursery. Because we need that desperately down here, considering our coral is one of the main reasons y'all have a big school now. Food for thought. And thank you very much for coming and sitting here and listening to us as we have to now come and sit and take time out of our days to come and have these nonsensical conversations because things have not been done yet. Thank you very much for your time.
Matt Kay?
Open the gate until a decision's made. That's the end of my time.
I think that's it. That's it. Open the gate till the decision's made. I don't see the
I do
downside.
just kind of wanna continue on what she was just saying. Just because you can, should you? We're literally affecting the patterns, the traffic patterns of an endangered species. There's no reason whatsoever we need to have a CDL in Big Pine Key. We have them up in Homestead. We have them in a place where nobody's gonna run over a key deer, nobody's gonna run over an endangered species. There's no reason whatsoever we should even be considering this. We're wasting our time.
Jan, oh, hope I say your name right. Spezkowski?
Yeah, I'm Slikowski.
Okay.
I'll make it real quick. I just have
Give half your time for Christie. No, okay.
a short comment. I am Valerie's husband. I have a PhD from biological oceanography. And I own a remote sensing company that does all sorts of environmental stuff from aircraft and satellites all over the world. Now, my only comment is, we've heard some people here say about how they consulted with experts on key deer. And I have a reservation about that. I would like to inform everybody about what the state of science on key deer right now is. And I don't mean this in an obnoxious way, I have published several papers in the past year about key deer and their environment, mostly kind of toward their how they use their environment, nothing physiology, nothing like that. The last time that there was a slew of actual research done on key deer in the mid-2000s, with Val mentioned Roy Lopez, who since then has been in Texas A&M, and Phil Frank, who was the manager and still resides in the Keys of the refuge at the time. After about 2010, the research and publications and therefore greater understanding of key deer went down to almost zero. So yes, we have people employed by the refuge, but for example, we mentioned Kevin Casals. He hasn't published a single paper on any kind of deer in his lifetime. So I am not criticizing, he's done a lot of stuff actually prior to coming here up in Delaware Bay on birds and other animals. But to be calling someone like that an expert on key deer is fallacious. Similarly with some other people that were mentioned, or with the local veterinarians, they have no records of any kind of research or scientific publication on key deer. So I think people have to kind of keep that in the back of their heads, making executive decisions or management decision based on some statement that one of those people might have made. That's it.
Dylan Scott?
Good evening, glad I could make it here, had a lot of notice to prepare for this meeting, I'm good. My name's Dylan Scott, I've got a bachelor's of science from the University of Florida,
Okay.
go Gators. Moved down to Key Largo in 2020 for a job down here in the conservation field. Was born and raised in Jupiter, Florida, and from, my early days, come down here, spring break, summertime. I grew up to learn three things about the Florida Keys. What they're known for: Jimmy Buffett, key lime pie, and the Florida key deer. That's how important this species is. Regardless of it being an endangered species, people travel to Big Pine Key to see the key deer. We should protect it. According to the Fish and Wildlife Service biological opinion, dated January 12, 2017, they determined the home range of the Florida key deer, which the home range is the area within which an animal normally lives and finds what it needs for survival. They define this home range based on expert opinion and scientific knowledge as 546 acres for males of the species and 104 acres for females. The fact that there are key deer trapped in this property, a 10.5 acre property, they are trapped in there like sardines. The fact that there are still key deer trapped in that property is an absolute atrocity. We need to open the fence until they can be removed, or cut holes in the fence. I'll jump in my car right now with bolt cutters and cut holes after consultation with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We are harming the key deer by keeping them trapped in there. I know this administration has changed the definition of harm, but due to all the public support internationally for the key deer, it should be spread far and wide that the College of the Florida Keys is harming the key deer by keeping them trapped in that property. We should be doing everything possible to allow them to get off that property. And the fact that the fence is 6 foot tall, where it should be much less than that, let's reduce the size of that fence. But in the time being, until we can get those key deer off that property, open the gates, cut holes in the fence, do whatever we can so they're not living in a can of sardines. And then pursue other options to allow for wildlife corridors into and out of the properties. That is, there's no definitive defined critical habitat for the key deer, but they are on that property because they're using that property for habitat, for food, for shelter, for cover. Let's increase the availability of the key deer to utilize this property by installing wildlife corridors. We have to line those corridors with poison wood to keep people from camping out there on the property. Let's do it.
Okay. Wayne LaRue Smith.
Good evening. My name is Wayne LaRue Smith. I'm an attorney here representing Dr. Jonathan Guevara. My address is 509 Whitehead Street, Key West. On behalf of the president, we place a limited objection on the record with a full reservation of rights regarding this meeting and the board actions taken at this meeting. We object that the meeting was called and noticed in violation of the reasonable notice requirements of the Government in the Sunshine Law, Chapter 286 of the Florida statutes, including Florida Statute 286.011. We object that the agenda lacks the specificity required to take any action regarding the president's employment. We further object that this meeting violates Florida Statute Section 1001.61, subsection 5, as it was noticed without advance consultation or administrative participation of the president in his statutory role as corporate secretary. We reserve all of the president's constitutional due process rights, statutory rights, under chapter 120 Florida statutes, and his right to seek a formal administrative hearing before the Division of Administrative Hearings to challenge any unlawful agency action, suspension, and termination. The president's participation through council at this meeting is solely to preserve these objections and does not constitute a waiver of any procedural, statutory, or constitutional rights. Thank you.
We have
Okay, George Lopez? Okay, thank you. Jessica Johnson?
Yeah, I just wanted to say. I have a comment about Dr. G and the whole key deer issue, because they're both very closely related. My first time I attended a board meeting at this board was 4 months ago, and Dr. G was very, very dismissive of the Big Pine Key residents' concerns about the key deers. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. How, because I grew up here. I grew up going to Big Pine Recycling Homes love Big Pine. And I couldn't believe how dismissive he was of the community's concerns. And so my question is, I don't understand how the people here are
Sorry.
so far the new board that's trying to work with you. They're really trying to work with you. And
Keep track of time.
you're not upset with Dr. G, because Dr. G is the one who wants the CDL school. He's the one who wants this, and there's a lot of controversy in this community, and I can understand the hurt and the pain, but you gotta lie where it lies. And Dr. G is the one who wants this CDL school, and he's the one who doesn't care about the key deer. We care about the key deer, so I think that you guys need to give the board some recognition here for working with you. That's all I have to say.
Tim Stockwell?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Trustees. I appreciate that. I'm Tim Stockwell. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the Hemingway Lookalike Society and the hundreds of members that we represent, and you can see several of them here are in attendance. And we just want to expand a little bit on the letter that we sent on July 10th. And yet I appreciate, I want to acknowledge the acknowledgement of our letter. We really appreciate that. So for the past 26 years, our organization has proudly partnered with the College of the Florida Keys. During that time, we've created an endowment fund with the college, now valued over $1 million, to help students pursue an education and build a better life through those scholarships. We've had the privilege of working with 4 college presidents, and throughout that history, one thing has remained constant: our desire to invest in an institution that serves this community well. Over the past 13 years, we've watched Dr. Guevara lead this college with vision, integrity, and purpose. He's not only strengthened the institution academically, but he's also become a respected leader throughout the Florida Keys. His commitment to expanding educational opportunities has aligned very closely with our own mission of investing in the future of this community in the areas of journalism, nursing, first responders, military veterans, and marine sciences. These were all areas that were of importance to Hemingway. One example of that vision is the proposed Workforce Training Center in Big Pine Key. Because we believe so strongly in that vision, the Hemingway Lookalike Society has already forward pledged an additional contribution of $500,000. In addition to our commitment, we have secured a private donation to match ours, another $500,000. Specifically toward the building of a world-class trade school as envisioned and described by Dr. G. It is because of that commitment that we are deeply concerned by the report that you have now terminated Dr. Guevara's contract. In our working partnership over the years with Dr. G, he has always demonstrated leadership, vision, stability, integrity, and dedication. When organizations build momentum, they do so because of those dedicated people who are allowed to carry out long-term plans. Disrupting that progress carries consequences, not only for the college, but for the students, the faculties, donors, and the entire Keys community. Tonight, we respectfully ask you to reconsider what's at stake. Our continued philanthropic partnership with the college has always been based on confidence in its leadership and its direction. Dr. Rivera has earned that confidence through years of measurable achievement, thoughtful leadership, and an unwavering commitment to the students and citizens of Monroe County. We urge you to carefully consider that decision and its potential ramifications and choose a course that does not risk our additional $1 million plus upcoming contributions and our continued collaboration. We're not here to criticize, we're here to advocate for what we believe is in the best interest of the college and the community we all serve. We respectfully ask that you preserve the momentum this institution has built, continue the dialogue with those who have invested in its future, and carefully weigh the long-term impact of your decision. We stand ready to continue working with you to help the college and the Florida Keys thrive for generations to come. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Chuck Weitzel? Did I say that right? Okay, thank you.
My name's Chuck Weitzel. I'm a local CPA and I'm here because I've been a student in college. I've been an adjunct instructor at the college. And I have met and dealt with Dr. G on numerous occasions. That man is a dedicated professional. He does not deserve what has happened to him tonight here. You have a lack of confidence in him. I have a lack of confidence in you. Asking people to come here on short notice, not allowing them to speak before you pass judgment and bring your thing to a vote is ridiculous. Every single board that I've always attended allows public interaction before you make your decision. I've got to believe there's some kind of a violation of sunshine law here. You guys had this.
Danny Valladares. Maxwell Mungal. Andrea Mungal. Marielle Valladares. Christine, is it Teasley? Christina, okay.
I apologize for not bringing my readers, so here we go. My name is Christina Teasley. I have no skin in this game. I'm just a concerned citizen. Concerned with bullies, mean girls, and higher education, sort of people who need training in their roles and responsibilities. I moved to Key Largo in 2021. I don't know Dr. Rivera. Trying to think if maybe I met him in an event here. I honestly don't remember. I've seen his picture so many times in the paper though, and I know that everything I've read about him has been positive. Now I will say I do love key deer, so I think there's going to be some common ground there. But you need to know that he's been employed with the college for 14 years. 14 years. To read and know what shape the school was in before he came on board. Okay, to see groups like this who have come in support of him, and to know that they work with him and work with the school and donate funds because of the relationship and because of the leadership of Dr. Rivera. 14 years. Okay, the same meeting, they decided to either extend for a year or at least have discussion about extending the contract for a year. It was noted he had 100% evaluation at that time. Okay. So something about. Sorry. The board chair was appointed to the board by Governor DeSantis June 16th of 2023. So the meeting before that was, remembering correctly, was when the board decided to look at extending the contract. Okay. She missed two board meetings in 2023. 3 board meetings in 2024, and 2 board meetings in 2025. Okay, in January 2026, the governor appointed this board member to the role of board chair. Okay, no one should earn a promotion based on such a poor attendance record. Dr. Guevara is owed an apology by the board chair. I wrote this before this all started, so for trying to unsuccessfully run his good name through the mud, and I think it will be unsuccessful. The board wants to fire Dr. Guevara because Governor DeSantis vetoed the request by the college to upgrade the AC system. Governor DeSantis vetoed the money, the funds for the upgrade AC system. Okay. So if there's anybody mad at, it's the guy who appointed you. Right, talk to him. I encourage the board to stand up to demand that appointed you and work the coming year to have the appropriations for the AC units approved. And according to the letter, so there's been some writings in the Upper Keys Weekly. According to my husband's retired military, I say it. Okay, sorry, I really heard so according to the letter of the editor written by a former Board of Trustees chair, Robert Stokey, raising money for the college and advocating for it
Ma'am, that's your 3 minutes.
is a duty of the law of the Board of Trustees. Thank you for your time.
Jack Sensbert? Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, concerned citizens and community members of the College of Florida Keys District. My name is Jack Subert, and I had a 12-year association with the college as a faculty member, as a program director, and more recently as Dean of Marine and Applied Sciences. But now I'm coming to speak to you not as a former administrator, but as a student. I registered for classes last week. And a lot of my points that I was going to make in my 3 minutes soliloquy here have been covered excellently by the last 3 speakers. So I won't go into that. I do find it very alarming. I do find it very concerning and disparaging that you all have come to this decision without more notice, without allowing people to talk and defend Dr. Guevara, which I came to do, and so many others of you came to do. But I will say I find it concerning because 90% of you were appointed this year. And you had maybe 2 or 3 meetings. Some of you were appointed at the last meeting and you've come to this decision. So I appreciate how you outlined the board rule and the statute and some of the evidence that you have. I'm not privy to his annual performance evaluations, nor should I be. I wasn't privy to the insubordination, so I can't speak on that. But I just think it's alarming that everyone's brand new for the most part, and now you fired the president of the college after less than 3 months of service. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
And I apologize if I'm not saying this right. Unana McCauley? Bobby Stokey? Ruth Stokey? Okay.
That's it.
All right, that's it for all the comment cards that I received.
Okay.
Okay, so, wait, good of the order?
Oh,
Is
good of the order.
there anything for the good of the order?
Nothing.
No.
Okay, next board meeting will be Tuesday, July 28th. I believe it's our organizational meeting at Marathon High School Media Center, 350 Sombrero Beach Boulevard, Marathon, Florida, 2 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
A second? All right, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.